Well, the sun's a hot star, and Mercury's hot too. Venus is the brightest planet, and Earth's home to me and you. Mars is the red one, and Jupiter's most wide. Saturn's got those icy rings, and Uranus spins on its side. Neptune's really windy, and Pluto's really small. Well, we wanted to name the planets, and now we've named them all. Well, let's recap. 9 planets, and Earth's home to me and you. That song was from an episode of Blue's Clues back in 1998 and was made known to me because of this toy that was bought for my daughters back in the year 2000. It's important to notice that Pluto was a planet back in 1998, but in 2006 it was reclassified as a dwarf planet, which then now we have 8 in our solar system instead of 9. Now, I miss Pluto. And, I wouldn't want to change those cute little jingles we learned in elementary school. But it bears the next question. What if Earth wasn't home to me and you? As science leaps into interplanetary pursuits, I'd like to consider the next frontier, interplanetary colonization, but not in the way you'd think. My angle is Mars Independent School District. So we'd have to ask a lot of important questions before we actually subject children to space and Mars. But before we do that, let's hypothesize in the thought experiment that is Mars ISD. In Mars ISD, who would be teaching the children? How would curriculum need to be different in such a hostile environment? Would it be science heavy? Can science and good education solve for the hazardous environments on Mars? And would there be room for the arts? What would future Martians think of Earth once Mars is home to me and you? So, as we contemplate a colony on Mars, it's important to know that living on the red planet would be extremely challenging. Your skeletal system itself could lose up to 1% bone mass for every month off of 1G, which is Earth's gravity. But one positive is that you could actually be 2 inches taller by not being on 1G gravity on Earth. Now, as your body's accustomed to Mars gravity, which is 0.38 Gs, 1/3 of that of Earth, it could be dangerous or even deadly to return to Earth because the body would be subjected to 3 times what it's used to. So science would have to have an answer for that. But they would also have to solve for a few other things as well, such as food sourcing. They would have to figure out energy production, air and water recycling, waste management, and solving for galactic cosmic radiation. Now, Earth does a great job shielding us from cosmic radiation because we have an atmosphere and we have a magnetosphere. But Mars has little of each of those. So in order to get the same protection on Mars, you would need to be 16 feet underground. Now, what we could do as humans is terraform Mars. We could actually produce an Earth-like atmosphere on the planet, which would take decades of planetary analysis and good science to actually accomplish. So as families of colonists arrive in droves with children in tow, Mars colony is going to need spaces for children to learn. So at first, that may be a corner of the colony somewhere. But eventually, imagine there would be a dedicated schoolroom, hopefully with lots of forward-thinking technology. But teachers of children most likely would have another job, as many colonists would, to pull their own weight, so to speak. So initially, it would be practical to assume that teenage students would learn science skills that allowed them to apprentice the teacher's other job. In fact, education most likely would be a community effort. For example, an environmental engineer could teach chemistry, but also help students understand how to run the air processors for the colony. An agricultural engineer or botanist could teach biology, but also teach students how to grow food and store food for the colony. So years down the line, it would be important to understand that they will gather skills that will allow them to help the colony be sustainable and thrive. And teachers would prove to be very important members of the colony. So how would teachers of elementary age students help their future teen selves get future jobs that are needed by the colony? How would they even know what curriculum they would need in order to get that accomplished? Because that's an important question. It's survival, after all. And the answer is, how could they not know? The first colony would be a very close-knit community that would have town hall meetings, probably not looking like that initially, that would convey important information on how to continue to survive. The leadership, the colony would be structured around leadership that would have the best interests of the colonists at heart. The teachers would teach to the needs of the colony at the time. Now, at first, that may be towards survival, but I imagine eventually there would be more. We probably would have a teacher of the arts. And if the atmosphere processors make the air breathable, then we can actually introduce animals and insects into the environment with the needs for veterinarians and ecosystem management. There will be jobs for the youth of Mars, and who knows? Maybe they'll still be asking if they want fries with that. But those jobs will depend on the science and the scientists that came before them. Decades down the line, with a good education system that feeds the science of advancement, Mars will grow into more than just a colony. We'll have interconnected colonies that will become cities. With the proliferation of with mining operations, atmosphere processors, and scientific breakthroughs, Martian cities will actually prosper. Mars and Earth could become trade partners with economic advantages to both planets. So my hopes lay with the scientists, those that lay the foundation for the first colony and initialized it, lay the foundation for those first tailor-made Martian citizens. Those citizens will be the product of a very specific and exacting education system that allowed for the colony to become a shining light for planetary colonization. And who knows? Maybe if we're really good at planetary colonization, we could revisit the Pluto issue and welcome Plutonians into the Interplanetary Federation. May they live long and prosper. Thank you.